So, Hasan Piker is mystified that Ethan Klein had no idea Hasan was a communist. Why, isn't it common knowledge that Hasan Piker is an open, avowed communist? I've been screaming this from the rooftops for years because people keep thinking he's just a progressive. Apparently, Ethan wasn't the only one that didn't know that Hasan was a communist. Let's explore this social phenomenon. First, we have to go easy on Ethan. He's 50.
Even though I'm a 50-year-old dude with like 3 children.
And 35.
I guess I groomed this 35-year-old adult as well into radical politics.
And 40.
Hasan groomed me and I was a neurodivergent minor at the ripe age of 40.
And an elderly 40.
Hasan duping an elderly 40-year-old. Yeah.
Aren't communists so clever? It's such a modern mystery how they can't get a society up and running. Now, in Ethan's defense, Anna Kasparian has known Hasan for over a decade, and for some reason thinks there's like 5 Marxists in the United States.
Honestly, I think that there's maybe a total of like 5 actual Marxists in this country.
I mean, Hasan couldn't beat you over the head harder about how he's a communist, in his own words.
Okay, my hiding being a communist, okay? I had a show on the Young Turks called Agitative Propaganda. Even in these clips, there is a USSR Ushanka behind my head, okay?
Was I being manipulated this whole time?
There is a bust, there is a what is it called, a Matryoshka doll of Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. That's Che Guevara. That is another USSR Ushanka behind my head.
So obviously, the Ushanka is a sign of a fan of communism, especially when your fan, Alec Gunter, wore an Ushanka hat, holding up your t-shirt, Hasan. He's obviously on board with communism, right? I mean, Hasan gave him a full head of steam.
Culture and
It's Alec Gunter. Oh, shit. I remember you. Who's that handsome guy in the red shirt and the Hunter Biden hat? Thanks for saying you like me. I'm in the Frankie shirt. Hello, that's me, man. Ree. Oh, yeah. Nice.
So then let them
here.
keep the family together and keep all the money.
So Alec Gunter has had communist daddy's blessing. So when the Gunt watches a video by a socialist for socialists, he should pretty much be on board with what they're talking about.
This video is coming from a socialist perspective, and it's designed for socialists, which means that as broadly as possible, you would agree with something along the lines of this sentiment.
Okay. I'm close
Just
enough
that
to one
you
of those.
feel that
I
electoral
think.
politics still holds a significant precedent. And if you are more liberal or conservative, then feel free to come along as well.
On
Just
this
be aware
journey,
that
let's
if you
go,
have
let's
faith in
go.
capital.
Irony is the greatest weapon for the modern shitlib. Is he being ironic? Is he a socialist? Is he intentionally acting like he doesn't understand what's being said? Let's hear Alec Gunter's wise words of criticism for this socialist video.
Abolish the police is not a winning line. I'll say it. Abolish the police is a loser line, okay? It didn't work, it won't work, and you're stupid if you think it will. Pull people over by saying we should abolish work, okay? Because as much as people would love to abolish work, they've all been convinced that they have to go to their 9-to-5 jobs in order for society to function. That's how they understand the world. So if you don't meet these people where they're at, you're never going to convince them of anything, okay? This is just like, well, basically what he's doing is he wants his message to be universally and understood without having to break it down or simplify it.
Without having to break it down or simplify it. So, without going into detail and without making a general observation. Alec Gunter is too stupid to understand this video, and that's a Hasan fan. They don't realize that Hasan's a communist, and then they watch a socialist video and they're like, what the hell is this shit? This doesn't make any sense. Yeah, how are you a fan of Hasan? Haven't you been listening to what he's been saying? And haven't you seen the wall of communist paraphernalia in the background of his videos?
Or start small or anything like that. He just thinks that it should be understood, and if you don't understand it, well, then you're just stupid, bro. I guess you're just stupid. Oh, you don't want abolition of the police and jails? You don't want to abolish them? You must just be stupid then. Bye, sweaty. Bye, sweaty. Oh, you're not part of my vanguard. Bye, sweaty. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a great way to win people over, man. What good optics you have.
Mind you, Alec Gunter considers himself to be a pretty extreme leftist.
That's fair. I'm pretty extreme leftist. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna back off of that, but I don't really care about the label. I believe in things that are good, and that's it.
So, Alec, sweetie, a communist would tell you that you're acting like a reactionary liberal right now. The video is specifically by a socialist for socialists. The video isn't trying to convince a liberal. You're interpreting the video as a liberal. And, I mean, we all know how Hasan Piker feels about liberals, right?
Liberals are some of the easiest to manipulate people on the fucking planet, dude.
I learned how much he hates liberals.
Dude, I hate liberals, dude. I do. I hate them. I hate them so viciously.
Did he secretly despise me this whole time?
I'm sorry, dude. I hate liberals so much.
Did this man sit next to me for 2 years and pretend to be my friend?
Dude, liberals are a burden on this planet, dude. Liberals are the most, scummy, vile, fucking idiots. Liberals are incredibly stupid. I hate these petulant liberals, dumb fucking liberals.
What else is someone this sociopathic capable of?
Liberals are some of the easiest to manipulate people on the fucking planet, dude.
Was I being manipulated this whole time?
What a hard life Hasan leads. He just wants everyone to obviously know he's a communist. Or does he? Hasan is acting like everyone should know he's a communist. But also, he openly admits to subverting people to the left of liberal to go further and further left to be communists, to radicalize them, to lead them to revolution.
Then I saw clips like this where Hasan is explaining how he's hiding his power level to funnel in normies into radicalization.
I think that in the short term, in order to combat against that, you have to advocate for a much lighter form of propaganda. You want America, in the way that I feel about it, and if you want America to get out of the way for places with more revolutionary potential to do what they would normally do, I think that, one thing you have to do is advocate for a lighter form while simultaneously still doing agitated propaganda that goes beyond,
right,
social democratic ideas.
You know how the left loves to say there's an alt-right pipeline? Would you be shocked that that's a projection and they're just saying what they're doing, with there being a communist pipeline? Slow, small steps of radicalization in popular online media, in schools. I mean, the BLM riots of 2020 were corporately funded. There was corporations donating to the Marxist-trained Black Lives Matter organization. Then the left calls you crazy and says you're calling everything communist. Then also says we're obviously communist. How did you not know we were communist? We told you we were communist. This is why you can't trust communists. Let's see how open Hasan Piker was in his first conversation with Ethan. Is he going to obviously say he's a Marxist and a communist and a socialist? Or is he going to appear more moderate, advocating for a more Swedish-style social capitalism?
Now listen to Hasan during our very first conversation lie to me about how he's a social democrat to hide his power level.
We should move towards a Sweden-style economy or a Norway-style economy, which would be a social democracy. You have to advocate for a much lighter form of propaganda with robust social safety nets.
Cold radicalization funnel, catch them while they're young, as they say.
And protections for workers, like higher unionization rates. A lighter form, while simultaneously still doing agitated propaganda that goes beyond social democratic ideas.
Hell, he's proclaimed it loudly that he is a self-described propagandist.
I'm a propagandist. Well, no, for the record. I'm not calling you that. I'm just saying. I'm going to play you.
I'm saying I am.
Okay, well then, I'm
saying I am.
I just
before
want to
you even play it.
A propagandist is much more than someone with a bias. It's someone who knowingly lies to further their political agenda.
Well, hold on, let's be fair to Hasan. He's going to say that this is clip-chimping and taking things out of context. Let's see the context that Hasan adds to this.
Because what are you saying? Like, what do you mean? Then you're just ill-equipped to have this conversation. You've openly demonstrated that. I consider myself a liberal, but in the American political lexicon, I guess I'm super liberal. That's what that's what Americans think liberalism is. The more left you are, the more liberal you are, even though there is a genuine distinction between the leftist and the liberal. But yeah, I'm progressive, I guess. That's the catch-all term.
I like progressive.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want to be progressive? It's in the name. We're progressing.
This is by definition political grooming. We're progressives. It sounds like we're progressing. We don't know what we're progressing towards. Communism. We don't know what we're progressing towards. And Hasan's like, yeah, progressive, see? Isn't what I believe in fun? Isn't what I believe in good? I'm not going to steer you wrong. I'm just going to keep shoving you further and further left.
Yeah, well, that's why like early stage classical liberals who like wanted to rebrand, like Dave Rubin, for example, who now are very openly on the right and like everyone knows it. They originally tried to say like they're the real progressives, and that the people who brand themselves as progressives, people like myself, they were actually regressive.
George Soros and Google. He wears jackets that say "Bash Fascist."
I'm sorry, I gotta stop again. Bash, what is wrong with hating fascists? I just don't understand that point. Bash, yeah, I mean, aren't we supposed to hate fascists?
Has a club in his hand.
We're supposed to hate fascists as Americans.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it. And then they'll say like Antifa is the real This is not in his content, Nuke.
So Hasan hates liberals, and when asked how he politically identifies, he says,
I consider myself a liberal, but in the American political lexicon, I guess like I'm super liberal.
I don't consider myself a liberal, but I guess to like Americans, I'm like a super liberal, like a progressive. Why not just say you're a communist or a Marxist or a socialist? Wouldn't that? Oh, it's because you're hiding your power level. Oh, it's because you're lying intentionally. You're intentionally misleading people to seem more moderate. And this is something that you've stated publicly.
This is just our first ever on-camera conversation, okay? The reason why I suspect someone spliced these two things together is because they wanted to show how fraudulent and how idiotic this is, okay? For Ethan to be like, I was duped. I was groomed into believing radical politics by this big, scary man, when even before we had a podcast together, I never sheltered him from my true opinion. I even say it there. I'm like, I wouldn't consider myself a liberal, but in American politics, because people's false understanding of liberalism, they would say I'm a super liberal. Okay?
Imagine if a Nazi was asked, hey, what are you politically? You wouldn't call me right-wing, but I guess here I'm like super right-wing. Wouldn't that be really duplicitous for a Nazi to do that? And then a Nazi's like, hey, I mean, look, I had swastika stuff in the background the entire time. How did you not know I was a Nazi? That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? He's constantly playing both sides. Communists are progressives. Communists call themselves progressives. You would think progressives would be quick to distance themselves from communists, but apparently not. Communist, progressive, it's like it's the same thing.
So what's really interesting about this entire process, despite the fact that I have a literal like Lenin bust behind me, a Che Guevara bust, and a USSR Ushanka behind me, okay? And also prominently display other famous leftist political figures, revolutionary political figures, and also Bernie Sanders, who is himself a socialist, okay? And go through the minutia and the process of explaining to him over and over again what my political worldview looks like. He just, I guess, either A, forgot what that conversation looked like and how that took place, or B, a second thing, and is cynically trying to present it as though I was secretly hiding the truth.
And now we must begin to end the video on a very sad and pathetic note. This realization of subversive communism is new to Ethan. Bless his 50-year-old, 35-year-old, 40-year-old, and elderly 40-year-old heart. He thinks that the corporations already infiltrated with environmental social governance standards aren't hip to what's happening. Let's let him cook and come to his own conclusion about the radicalization also happening on the ground.
Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods.
And this isn't just a Hasan problem. It underscores a disturbing trend among leftists on Twitch. The problem is, if you can believe it, these people are frequently making death threats and facing zero consequence. I know it sounds far-fetched, but I assure you it's very real.
Listen, I'll up the number, okay? $30K to anyone who'll make this dipshit disappear.
It would just be so easy to just, it would save, like, solve all of our problems. Like, we would have socialism now at this point, right? We would have socialism at this point if someone just went out of their way and it would be so easy.
Thing that happens, I mean, like, holy shit, guys. If you live in Florida, I have an opportunity for you. If you want to earn $100,000, let me know.
Actually, Mike from PA, the dude that's stuck in the before image of a transformation story, did receive a 3-day ban.
This man put a bounty on a fellow streamer's head. This man should not be getting a 3-day suspension. He should be getting a knock on his door from the FBI.
I made this video for 2 reasons. First, to stop Hasan infiltrating mainstream media. Hasan has been welcomed by many mainstream outlets. They view him as a friendly social democrat, as someone who's just trying to spread progressive politics online to an important demographic. But we know that's not true. He is not their friend or their ally. If you ever see Hasan rubbing shoulders with anyone from mainstream media, let them know politely, with all the civility in the world, what kind of person he is when he thinks mainstream media isn't watching. Help them understand that his name should be associated with people like Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones, other fringe, radical, political commentators.
Ethan, what you don't understand is that the left views radicalization as cool and good. The right is extreme, the left is radical, okay? What they're doing is okay because they're subverting liberalism. Everything they do, they're consequentialists. Everything they do in pursuit of their goal is justified for the end goal of communism. You can call them leftists all you want, but what is extreme leftism if not communism?
Number 2, Twitch must be held accountable. Twitch has proven that it will not change by choice, and so it is our moral imperative to enact that change through any reasonable means that we can. Samsung, Chevron, and Capcom. Twitch has given them a lasting association with a racial tier list with Arabs at the top and Jews at the bottom. These brands have every right to know, and they should.
Oh, sweet, supple Ethan. You're listing companies that donated to Black Lives Matter connected organizations while they were rioting and burning down businesses and government property during a pandemic lockdown. According to the Washington Post, corporate America's $50 billion promise, a post-analysis of racial justice pledges after George Floyd's death reveals the limits of corporate power to effect change. They have no problem donating to communist causes. Black Lives Matter was created by trained Marxists. They do not care. This is not new to them. Communism is as American as apple pie, Ethan. You're a little late to the game, but it's good that you're finally on board. Have a good one.